All right, we are recording. Well, good morning, everyone. Today we're going to do a little intro and a little intermediate teams meeting. We're going to try to cover everything. We have an hour to do this. I have Lisa here, the other trainer, on the line with me. So it's going to be an informal. It's good to have Claire here with me. So we're going to have just an informal training here, and I want you all to ask a lot of questions. I want to make sure to cover as much as we can. So what I've done is I have a virtual machine because it's hard to show everything in a Teams meeting while we're in a Teams meeting. So I've set up a virtual machine. So let me go ahead and share my desktop. You'll probably notice that the virtual machine will run a little slower than typical. So this virtual machine is in a Teams meeting. I've started a meeting here. So I'm just going to briefly go over what you see behind the scenes when you have a meeting. The chat, that's pretty common. You can open the chat and have communications. I can see everybody who's in my meeting. And you know what I can do for this part of this? I'm going to go ahead and drag you all back here. So I can see who's in the chat. On the people here, I can see who's in the meetings, who's the organizer, presenters, and attendees. If I pick, and Claire, I hope you don't mind if I pick on you, but if I hit these ellipses, the three dots here, I can always disable the mic and disable the camera, but I can also spotlight Claire. So let's say Claire is a guest speaker. Maybe she's not a presenter, but I can, well, if she's a presenter, I can spotlight her so she's always on the screen for everybody. Okay, so she's highlighted here for everybody, and I can promote her to a presenter and spotlight her. So those are some things that you can do. Something else that I can do here, if somebody is maybe running late, or maybe I might have feared that they might have forgot about the meeting, I can type their name up here and invite them to the meeting. It'll ring them and bring them in. I also use this area. Let's say that I have, I don't know, 20 people in here. Rather than scrolling down and trying to find somebody in the meeting, I can simply find their name here. It'll bring them up, and then maybe I can promote them straight to a presenter. So I also use this area to find people that are already in the meeting. So not only, invite them, but also find them for a meeting. But that's all under the people. And then you could do things like in a meeting, you can raise hands. The nice thing about raise hands, again, if we have a lot of people and I have 4 or 5 people shoot up their hands, it'll show them in the order of who raised their hands first. So it'll do that sequentially so I can call them in order. So, and then you have your reactions. The different views you can have. If you haven't played with this, right now we're just in the gallery view, like the Hollywood Squares view for you guys who know Hollywood Squares. But I can click on the view and I could go to together mode, but for some reason I don't have that available to me, and I'm not sure why. But on together mode, Lisa, if you would share your screen and we can look at that.
So right now I'm in together mode. And then which puts us in this format.
Yeah. In that together mode, you can change the scene, and it shows you how many people can be in each together mode. And a lot of people, some people are starting to use that more because I think they said they're kind of getting tired of the Hollywood Squares view, the tile view. But the together mode is more of a natural setting. You can make it like you're around a conference room and all that. So let me go back, Lisa, and let me share my screen here. So that's all in the different views. And then you can add applications to your meeting. Some people add maybe Microsoft Forms. It's more of a polling. So in your meeting, and you can do this actually before a meeting as well. A lot of people do that before the meeting to prepare your meeting for any kind of polling if you want to do assessment on how your meeting is going. And we'll show whiteboard here in a minute. Under the more options, of course, you can record and transcribe your meeting. So this one's already been recording. Avatars, I'll tell you right now that's only in a standard meeting. Educational environments, we have an E5 license at the University of Missouri. We cannot have avatars yet. Some people are asking Microsoft to allow that for educational institutions. Language and speech. This is where you can turn on live captions, turn on speaking coach. This will help you practice for your meetings, and it'll tell you, how you're doing on your speaking. And then under settings, they do, of course, this is where you do your mic and your headset, but accessibility is also found here. So if I enable accessibility, it does have the ability to offer sign language. Now, Microsoft, of course, doesn't have the signers for you. It'll have to be somebody else within your tenant, but you can enable that, and you can have up to 2 signers available that you could sign up 2 signers for you. So if I knew sign language, you could have me as one of your signers. I would be more prominent in your meeting, and I'll also have the highest quality of resolution. And then you can also turn on live captions. The other couple of things I need to show you, let me switch this over to my virtual environment. So now in my virtual environment, under sharing, and this is where we'll spend the rest of our time, you have some different options here. Of course, you can do the presenter mode. So you can have it so and that's a little hard, maybe a little hard here to see, but you can make it so your camera is in front of your presentation or you're side by side. Let me just stop sharing here and I'll show you what that looks like. So I can go into my presenter mode and I will share this screen. And then can you all see me now at the bottom of my screen? And I guess I should be pointing this way. And then I can also adjust the size of myself here. I can make myself bigger, smaller. And then again, if I'm on the right or left, I can move that around as well. And there's other ways that you can share that. Let me stop sharing. So that was a small mode. I can do side by side, or like what you might see on the news. You can also have, of course, a full screen or the window view. The whiteboard, so we can collaborate on a whiteboard in a meeting. And let me just show you what that looks like. So if I say, click on share and choose whiteboard, I'm going to drag, I guess you'll only see the whiteboard. I'm going to say a new whiteboard, and you won't see this part until, I don't know if you, can you all see that screen if I put it over here? You can. So
we see it starting to create.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, starting to create. So I can choose new whiteboard or have an existing whiteboard that I have available. And now let me back that off one more time and go to whiteboard, because I will make this a collaborative one just to show that we can all be collaborating on the same whiteboard at the same time. And I apologize because in a recording, I'm not sure this will show up what we are doing now, but everybody in the meeting will be able to edit and work on this whiteboard at the same time. So I can draw stuff and you all could, you could drag reactions over. So it's a collaborative whiteboard. Okay, is that working for everyone? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Larry said it was. I'm going to stop that share. The next thing I will show you is, this is going to be fun going back and forth. So let me just go through these. I have a whiteboard, content from camera. I'll show you that next. And within the content from camera, let me just click on that. I can share a physical whiteboard in a room. And I don't have a whiteboard here, but I do have a poster board hanging on my wall, and I'll just use that as my whiteboard. It'll detect it as a whiteboard. What I can do on that, a lot of times when you're using a regular whiteboard, when people step, of course, in front of the whiteboard, you can't see what's there typically. What this does, it takes a snapshot of what's there, and if I step in front of it, it does ghosting. You can see through me, and you can still see what was on there, the whiteboard. I can write on it, step away, and then you see the new information, and I'll show you that. The other 2 options are like a document camera. So if you do have a document camera, you can take advantage of that. At the College of Vet Medicine, where Lisa and I were before, we had some of the doctors there that was in surgery. They want to show different types of stitching, sutures. So they put their hand under document camera. They could show the students how to, of course, tie a knot and do that. But it's also useful for books, right? Literature. Video, share content from video. Maybe you have a GoPro and your computer can see a GoPro. So you could have your laptop out in the field doing something and everybody on the meeting can see all your content from your GoPro. So that's also handy. I don't have one here, but I will show you the whiteboard, okay? The last two things that we have is PowerPoint Live and Excel Live. Now I might show you Excel Live. Excel Live is a newer feature, and I think you can have up to 10 or 20. I have to look at the number. People in the meeting, and I can open an Excel document and everybody can collaborate on the document. So that's handy if you want to say kind of what ifs, right? Or maybe you want to show some results from a pivot table but everybody can see the same document and be in it at the same time. PowerPoint Live works the same way, except you can do a lot more things with PowerPoint Live. And let me just pull up this accessibility and let me just show you what this looks like behind the scenes. And then in our training on ours, you can see what it looks like for the end user, but this is what it looks like behind the scenes when you're presenting. While we're waiting for that to come up in a virtual environment, that might take a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and show you my whiteboard, a true whiteboard. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to say, I'll go content from camera, and then I'm going to do a whiteboard. So now you all might see my beautiful drawing. This house is old, a tree. Can you all see that? I'm going to let me see if I can just reach over here without knocking things over. I'm going to step in front of this and I'm going to draw something underneath the house here. I'll draw a little pathway, but I'm going to step in front and hopefully that ghosting will show up.
I think you've missed your calling, Greg.
So did that ghosting show up for you when I stepped in front of it? Okay.
Sure did.
Yeah, so you should be able to see through it. I step away, it takes another snapshot. I'm gonna put my hand in front of it. So if I get in front of it, put my hand in front of it, you can still see through it, and then they'll see all the new features. So this is nice for conference room, classrooms, or boardrooms that have a true whiteboard. And so people can still copy the contents of the whiteboard while you're standing in front of it, interrupting what's going on. Now I'm going to go back to the other screen that I'm kind of jumping around, but I wanted to show you that while we're waiting for the virtual machine. So now this is what PowerPoint Live looks like behind the scenes. So as a presenter, it actually, I'm not sharing my screen. That's kind of the way they do it in Zoom and other video conferencing. This actually embeds it into our meeting. So at the top, you all will be able to advance through the slides if you wish. And this is because right here across the top, and you can see this on my screen, here's private preview. If I don't want people going through the slides at their leisure, I can click here and everybody comes back to the same slide. But you might want, some people might leave this. So if I'm going too fast and somebody missed something, you guys will have this. I can't remember if it's above or below the slides. I think it's below. You can go back to a previous slide if you wish, okay? And then you have the ability, of course, to pop out your slides. You'll see all the features that you have. But what I have available to me, of course, is to advance my slides. This is the different kind of views I can have, the grid view or just a standard view, and there's an X to go back. More actions underneath here, and you all can do this as well. You all will have the option to translate the slide. I'll have the slides in English, but you can put it in a language that's more comfortable for you. So maybe you're more comfortable in Spanish. You can translate your view into Spanish because, again, this is in the cloud. I'm not sharing my screen. I could also come here, and of course, here's the laser pointer that's red. Now the laser pointer, I hold down on my mouse button, and this is a lot more, it's smoother if it's not on my virtual. I could circle something or do something, let go. It's up there for a bit, and then it disappears. So it's a little different from a pen. Another thing I'll mention, if I click twice on this, I can change the color and the thickness of my laser. So maybe I want a blue laser, which is hard to see there. The next option is a pen, so I can annotate on my slide. And again, if I click twice on it, I can change the color and the thickness. So maybe I want a thicker purple. And then, of course, you have the highlighter, double click, different colors, and you can highlight your text. And then you have the eraser. I can erase a section of it. Or if this is running slow on this virtual, or if I double click, I can say just erase all the ink on the slide. Okay. And you can see the other features down here. Also, if I have, let me go ahead and turn this on. I'm going to turn on my language and speech, my live captions at the bottom. Oh, but you know what? On my virtual machine, it won't get my sound. So I would encourage you to test this on your machine, hit more, go to language and speech, and turn on live captions. What you will get on the bottom here is the option to change your language. So I could speak in English, it'll translate it into your own language for you. Okay, and that's part of Teams meetings that I failed to mention. So having said all that, I'm going to quit sharing this, and I'm going to do a PowerPoint live in the meeting that we're in, and let you all play with that. So let me, yeah, that doesn't matter. Let me come over here, and I'm going to introduce a PowerPoint live, but let me get my camera back on here because I use that for our whiteboard. All right, so back to our meeting. Let me go say share, and I'm going to pick a PowerPoint live, the same thing on accessibility. And you all should be seeing that. You all see it okay?
Yep, PowerPoint.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm going to allow you all to advance through the slides. I'm going to jump up to the third slide here. And we can imagine that I, of course, talk too fast. You should be able to go to a previous slide.
Yep.
And then you can play with, is it under the slide that you have the three dots and you can say translate slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so go ahead and translate that into a different language. And one of y'all might pick Spanish and one pick something else, but mine is still in English.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I come to the top and I say private preview, I'm going to turn that off. Let's see if it forces everybody to go to slide 2.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the way I can bring everybody out. You know, if I come to an important part, I can turn off private preview. So now you shouldn't be able to scroll. And then while we're on, I'm going to go ahead and leave that private preview turned off. So I just want you to see the laser. I'm going to do a red laser over the sun or the glasses here. And then let go, and you should see that. And then make a purple pen around agenda or through agenda. Okay. And then if you would turn on your, I'm going to go ahead and turn mine on. If you click on the three dots at the top, go down to language, and then turn on live captions. Now, what should happen, you should have a settings to the right. And let me see if they've changed. This is something we didn't have yet. So let me click on, once you click on settings, click on caption settings. Yeah, we still don't have that available. So in our tenant, most things that are rolling out, because this is new. It used just to be three dots there, but now it has the caption settings. Spoken language is English. Then you should have displayed language. We don't have that option yet. So now if anybody changes spoken language, it's going to change it for everybody. Okay. So we should have another option under spoken languages that says displayed language. So right now we cannot change. We could change it, but it changes it for everybody. Now, just for the fun of it, I see we only have another minute because we started a little late. I'm going to share. I haven't tried this yet. We're going to do a customer data 6.9 training. Let's do the 6.9 training. I don't know what's in that one. I'm going to do an Excel live. Everyone invited to this meeting will be able to access the file is what it says. So I share the file. Oh, good. This is a good spreadsheet to do. Now, are you all able to see that spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay, good. So hopefully everybody is able to type something in there. And I can see you all moving around by yourselves. I'll type my Greg's cell here. So if we had, some different formulas or stuff, now we could, in a meeting, we could all be working in the same document, okay, just by doing share and sharing an Excel live. Now, I kind of went through everything. Is there anything that you all might have a question on? Like I had mentioned, let me just show one more thing. I want to pull up Teams. So within if I have a meeting already set up, this was one from yesterday. I should be able to, oh, that's a scheduled. Okay, I'm gonna make a Teams meeting here. This is gonna be my demo meeting. So if I right click and edit this, at the top here, what people do, if I hit the plus, they can add polling before their meeting, and they can create polls if they know that they're going to ask questions during the meeting. So you can create your polling ahead of time, or you can also have instant polling in a meeting. So here, it gives you some suggested polls that you might want to ask, or you can just say new poll, and you can create a list of polling questions, okay? So I just wanted to point that out. So you can have polling ahead of time set up, or during a meeting, you can have do a quick poll, which is like a thumbs up, thumbs down, or if you have somebody that's helping you in a meeting, maybe they can type out questions for you. So polling's a good way to assess how things are going in your meeting. Well, that's all I have, unless you ladies can think of other things questions that people might have for a meeting. If you think of like Zoom meetings, one thing I did mention is, yes, thank you, Lisa. There is, you can create breakout rooms just like you can. If you have large groups of people, you can place different breakout rooms as well. So at this time, I will stop the training or stop the recording, but we do thank you for coming out, and I hope you all found this training beneficial.